Hello, my name is Lynn. I am the Sexual Health Education Assistant at Health Promotion and Wellness at San Francisco State University. Our office is located at 750 Font Boulevard, Suite 5000, San Francisco, California. Hours and contact info are in the bottom right corner of the page, as well as in the description of the video. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and in this video, I will be discussing why this month is important and delve into the theme of this year's month as provided by the National Sexual Violence Response Center. I will be addressing sexual violence in this video. Sexual violence is an all-encompassing term that refers to when someone forces or manipulates someone into unwanted sexual activity without consent. Examples include rape, sexual harassment, and sexual abuse. These are sensitive topics that can be difficult to talk about, so I encourage you to take care as needed while you view the video. On the right are some resources to go to if you or someone you know needs someone to talk to. The first listed is the CAPS counseling services at SFSU. If you are a student, you can access these services via telephone or the website. At the end of the video, I will discuss some additional resources you can utilize and share with your community. All of these resources are also linked in the description below. So 2023 is the 22nd anniversary of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, or SAAM. The aim of SAAM is to raise public awareness around sexual violence and provide education on how to prevent sexual violence in order to build communities that are safe and equitable for all people. This is done through building survivor-informed programs and policies for prevention. Now I'll discuss a little bit of the history surrounding SAAM. The roots of the movement come from the civil rights era of the 1940s and 50s, where people began to have conversations around equal rights. Many of these efforts were led primarily by Black women and women of color. Wider social activism around sexual assault began in the 1970s, heightening awareness of the issue with the support of survivors. The very first rape crisis center to exist in the U.S. opened in San Francisco in 1971. The Violence Against Women Act in 1993, also known as VAWA, highlighted that national efforts in sexual violence prevention were necessary if we're going to see change. Throughout the time leading up to VAWA and afterwards, advocates and survivors had been holding events and marches during the month of April. Oftentimes, these events would happen during the week of April called Sexual Assault Awareness Week. In the early 90s, NSVRC and the Resource Sharing Project pulled several violence coalitions in an effort to further organize prevention and awareness. The poll concluded that a teal ribbon would be the symbol of sexual violence awareness, and the issue would be acknowledged during the month of April. SAAM was first nationally observed in 2001. Every year, NSVRC coordinates a national SAAM campaign with a different theme in mind. Their website is linked in the video description below. This year, NSVRC states that this April's campaign calls on all individuals, communities, organizations, and institutions to change ourselves and the systems surrounding us to build racial equity and respect. Let's talk more about what this means. What exactly is equity? One might wonder if it is the same as equality. Short answer, it is not. Equity and equality are not at all synonymous. In social and racial justice movements, equity and equality have very distinct and important differences. Equity is defined as the quality of being fair and impartial, whereas equality is defined as the quality or state of being equal in status, rights, and/or opportunities. When considering these ideas in the context of social and racial justice movements, equity means meeting communities where they are and allocating resources and opportunities as needed. On the flip side, equality would mean giving everyone the same resources and opportunities, regardless of what their different needs might be. Let me give you a visual to better understand the difference. So let's look at the image on the left, titled Equality. As you can see, though each person has the same size block, one of them still stands taller than the others. This demonstrates how approaching social and racial justice movements with an equality mindset can actually increase inequities because not everyone in a group or community needs the same opportunities or resources in order to thrive. The image on the right, titled Equity, each person is given an extra block depending on their needs, so everyone can stand at the same height. This illustrates how an equity-based approach considers that each person has different circumstances and therefore different needs. So how does equity fit into the context of SOM? How can we approach sexual violence prevention with equity in mind? This month's theme asks us to take on an equitable approach when addressing sexual violence because without equity, we cannot address all of the differing needs of survivors. Recognizing that survivors of sexual violence have different life experiences and backgrounds will help us create prevention programs and policies for survivors that meet everyone's needs and situations. So let's talk about prevention. What are some things that you can do? On an individual level, we have the power to use our voice. Talking openly with trusted individuals, whether you have experienced sexual violence or not, can help normalize these conversations. Make sure to promote safety, respect, and equity in these conversations. And conversations like this can prevent sexual violence by spreading awareness and education, as well as holding individuals accountable for their actions. Additionally, the sharing of resources is a great way to spread awareness and prevent sexual violence. Knowledge is power, and using your voice to spread knowledge is essential to promoting change. Another way to prevent sexual violence is through community. Your community can hold folks who have caused harm accountable by calling out abusers and standing by survivors. This is a small but powerful way to prevent violence from happening any further. It lets people know that your community will not tolerate sexual violence. On a grander scale, the culture around sex and sexual violence needs to change in order for us to build a society that does not tolerate sexual violence and assault. One way we can do this is by challenging the social norms in place that perpetuate sexual violence. This could look like thinking critically about the media you consume or interactions you see in social groups. As I wrap up, I will leave you with this quote from Black feminist poet Audre Lorde. "There is no such thing as a single-issue struggle because we do not live single-issue lives." What Lorde is referring to in this statement is intersectionality, a term coined by civil rights advocate Kimberly Crenshaw. Intersectionality is a framework that describes the ways in which multiple forms of discrimination can interlock with each other based on race, class, gender, and many other social categories. Lorde says we do not live single-issue lives, acknowledging that in order to take on a social struggle, one must acknowledge that there may be more than one struggle occurring at the same time. One could say many of our struggles are interconnected. I hope that the information in this video has given you the chance to think more deeply about how equity is a necessary player in sexual violence prevention. Here are some additional resources for education, prevention, and services for survivors. Thank you so much for watching.